Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We are here together, Crystal, B Astrology, and me, Astrology Dome, Galit. And we're so excited. We decided to do something new and every month to have a podcast on a certain aspect or a certain transit that's going on in the sky and share with you what we think. So, this is a deep dive into our astrology knowledge and understanding and love for astrology. And welcome, Crystal. It's a great morning.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be back. And I love talking to you and I love talking about astrology. So I'm really excited to dive in to talk about Jupiter, one of my favorite planets.
All right. So yeah, the subject today is Jupiter going into Gemini. And I know
Big
so much
shift.
has been said about that, but Crystal and I have our own opinions and we would like to share them with you. So Crystal, why don't you open and give us some overview of what you think Jupiter's move into Gemini will bring us?
So I want to start by telling everybody that I love Jupiter. When I started to learn about astrology and dive into astrology, he was the first planet that I wanted to see what he's doing because he is, if we're going to get luck from some energy, we're going to get it from Jupiter. But for everybody to just kind of understand Jupiter, similar to in the sky, he's the biggest planet. So his energy is big and it expands. So for some of us, it expands things in a very to an advantage, and to others, it can make things go over over the top. So it's always important to think about those. I had to learn that the hard way when I was learning about astrology. Like I always thought about all the good. And then I had to be reminded, oh, he could just be that huge expander in ways that maybe you don't
Access,
sometimes want.
access. Yeah, too much. Yeah.
But first of all, I'm very hopeful for Jupiter going into Gemini. Jupiter goes into each sign only once every 12 years. So it's like a reboot with this Gemini energy. I'm particularly excited for my Geminis who I talk to. Like Gemini needs a lift. They need some good energy. I also think Sagittarius is going to really benefit from this. But Jupiter going into Gemini is going to expand all things Gemini, which has to do with travel, communication, writing. Um, like the world has been so lonely that I really feel like Jupiter going into Gemini is really pushing people to make those connections again, to really kind of travel again, to really kind of spread their wings and fly again. That's really what I'm sensing. And I feel like the air energy too, because Gemini is very airy. We need that. I think we need a little bit of that lightness.
I like to add that Gemini have a sense of humor. And,
Yes,
and
funny.
we need some sense of humor in what's going on in the world right now. We got so
Totally.
serious into such deep places and so much trauma is going on. We need to lighten up the air element, right? And I totally agree about the sociability. We got used to socializing through social media and Zoom and all that. What about one-on-one lunch meetings, going to the beach together with a friend, just doing the small little things, just
People.
seeing somebody, really seeing them, not on Zoom, and connecting in a more personal way. I think we all need that to feel that we're all human. We're all
Yeah.
feeling the same way. And maybe that will shift what we're seeing, all the tragedies that we're seeing out there, just by understanding our humanity. And I think that Jupiter and Gemini have a great chance to do that and bring people closer to each other, really have the human connection. We need some human connection. As you said, Jupiter always expands. So
Yeah.
I think we have a chance to expand our understanding of what communication is.
Yes.
That's what is this concept of communication? Why are we communicating? My husband loves to watch animal movies, and he
Uh,
watched that series about the chimpanzees. And there is
Oh, yeah.
a whole family of chimpanzees and how they interact and how they communicate with each other. Some of it is verbal, some of it is completely nonverbal. It just
Yeah,
moves in body language and signs. And we're doing the same thing as people. So,
totally.
what is it and how do we communicate and how much communication affects our life? And what is the outcome of not communicating good? This creates friction, right? And do we want friction or do we want collaboration? It is the
Right.
age of Aquarius that we're going into. So maybe advancing our understanding of what communication is. Would you
Well, and
agree?
I think that the, you know, with AI and all of the implementations of all the new ways that we're communicating or how tools are helping us communicate better, I think that the curiosity factor of Gemini, because I really see Gemini as being super curious and they want to learn. I feel like people's self-development is also going to be taken up a few notches. Gemini is about the mind, right? Like, and it's like, I think that we want to learn, just like you said, we want to learn maybe better ways to communicate or maybe use the new tools that are out there to be able to help us communicate with people that we want to talk to. But I also want to say, because I want to be real, that's the Capricorn part of me coming out. Jupiter, again, big guy, big guy. There's always, if we just kind of go into elementary astrology really fast, all the planets behave in, different ways depending on the sign that they're operating through. And Jupiter in Gemini, he is not in his best placement. He can get a little scattery. Um, he can get a little, like Gemini. I always, as I said, I think of Gemini as like the bird, the hummingbird, like running around, flying around. Like we may have a lot of curiosities that we want to go and explore. And we're like, I don't know, like you end up putting so much on your plate that you end up not being able to finish anything, like it's going to be a big shift from where we've been. And like this Taurus energy, Jupiter and Taurus has been rather slow and methodical. And now it's going to like, the pace is going to pick up.
Very true. So maybe focus is actually a good word
Mm,
to kind of constrain the endless, boundless energy of Jupiter and Gemini, because Jupiter and Gemini wants to have it all. It wants to read all the books, watch all the shows, travel to everywhere, and there is no priority. We want to do it all right now. It's just a way of perceiving that everything is important at the same weight. Everything has the same weight, and it's not really true for us because then we lose our focus and our trajectory as to what is really important to put our energy. So maybe discernment is a good word for putting some structure into Jupiter in Gemini. I did look at the AI component of that because I really feel that we live in a fork in the road right now.
absolutely.
And this is such a pivotal point in human evolution. And Jupiter and Gemini is going to cause acceleration no matter what. We're going to accelerate. And then Uranus will step into Gemini, right?
That we're on the same thought because honestly, like just with the nature of our job, we always are thinking, you can't help but think about where the planets are going next. And the fact of the matter is that Jupiter is warming up this Gemini energy because Uranus, the planet of, chaos and unpredictability and also change, he's headed there next year. He's
Yeah.
going to start dancing there. He's going to start dancing there in 2025 and then he'll make his firm transition in 2026. But it's like this Gemini energy is not going away. It's going to be here. And I want to add something just with thinking about like with Gemini in the mind and really kind of thinking about like we really are in a mental health crisis right now. People are learning so much about how their emotions are operating, how their minds are working. And we're really, again, that self-development. We're really trying to find ways to work with with who we are, with who we are, no matter whatever you want to label it as. But I really feel like with Jupiter and Gemini, and even all the movements into Gemini, we're really learning to work with our brains differently, the mind. There might even be discoveries, or I'm sure there will be, certainly when Uranus goes into Gemini, but I believe that the discoveries of the power of the mind, I think are
100%.
on the
I
horizon.
totally agree. Yeah, I totally agree. And I think that there is a good clue because Jupiter enters Gemini and right away creates the first aspect that it does after its entry, a trine to Pluto. And I think this is kind of a signal. Pluto is saying, oh, you want to dive into your soul? You want to take a deep dive? Let me help you facilitate a powerful understanding, right? The Pluto component diving into the deepest layers of ourselves, which we're all on that trajectory anyhow. And let me give you more information that you need in order to expand the conversation about discovering those deeper layers of who you are as humans, as species, as beings. And this is a deep dive. The first aspect a planet makes when it ingresses into a sign is an important aspect. It gives us some clues as to what that scope, what that picture is going to look like. So I wanted to note that Jupiter will trine Pluto from the first moment, from May 31st. It's moving into Gemini on May 25th. On the 31st, it's already trining Pluto until like June 3rd.
Right.
And
It's that the first week of June has really always been like one of my favorite times of all of 2024, just with, and Venus is going to be involved,
right.
and there's a new moon on June 6th in Gemini. Like, there's such a great, just like you said, that first kind of, signal sign of what Jupiter does is pretty powerful, So what all of us are doing in that first week of June, whatever is going on as we close out May going into June, I think that that's very symbolic of where we're going.
I totally agree. I think it's that fork in the road and it leads the way. You see some signs that are leading your way. And if you're listening, you pay attention to those signs, what is coming up for you. And of course, it will be determined by where Jupiter is in your chart, because the house and life department that Jupiter is traveling in your chart would be significant. So where is Gemini in your chart would make a highlight on that house and life department for the whole year. Something is expanding there. And what kind of aspect is Jupiter, traveling Jupiter is creating to your natal planets will be very significant for you in a personal way, right?
Absolutely. And I also think it's important to think back. And again, all our listeners are from different age sets, but to 12 years ago, to what we were doing. And I believe it was 2013. What was the last time? 2013 into 2013
Yeah.
into 2012, 2013, when Jupiter was in Gemini last. And I even do this for myself, like thinking back, what was I doing back then? Like, obviously we're in a different space now, but patterns repeat. I always tell that to my clients. Like, patterns repeat. Doesn't need to be the same exact context, but it's like we find ourselves in certain situations again, and what are we going to do? It's always free will. What are you going to do with it?
I thought about that as well, and I found myself actually redoing something I did 12 years ago, but
Yeah.
on a different level, much better. I'm wiser now. It's been 12 years. I've learned some things, and I'm doing but something very similar. So I looked at it and I said, "Oh, yeah, it's coming. Here it is. I can see the signs." So I agree. It's always good to look back. I want to talk a little bit about the significance of the new player that we have on the planet called Mr. AI or
Yeah.
Mrs. AI, because we don't know who they are yet
Right.
and where they are developing, right? And I think Jupiter in Gemini will bring a deep conversation to what that means for us as we move forward towards Uranus coming into Gemini, which will be the implementation of that conversation. So a lot of threads and a lot of new doors will be opened this particular
Totally.
year with Jupiter. Jupiter is not just the expander, it is also about learning, right? And Gemini is about the mind and learning.
The
So
mind. Yeah.
double learning, because Jupiter is the ruler of Sagittarius. So Sagittarius brings us the overview and the expansion and the ability to see the ethics and philosophies of where
Mhm.
we're heading. And there is a deep conversation about ethics and philosophies regarding AI right now. And it's a very
Oh,
important conversation, because how do we keep this safe for us humans? This is a game changer. We've never experienced a being, I don't know if to name it a being, but something that is capable to create on its own. Every machines we created before was not able to create on its own, but this thing can do that. So where does it put us? So there is a lot of conversation about what are the ethics, what are the philosophy that we should use this tool for. Is it going to govern us? There is a question about governing, about fair elections. There's really deep questions about where we're taking. And again, that Jupiter is signifying the government structures, right? And I was thinking about where is this?
no, you're totally right. But I want to add one more element to this, especially in thinking about news and information, because this is certainly going to ramp up. I also think of fake news. And the reason for that is because as Jupiter makes his way through Gemini, there's going to be a lot of pressures on him, especially as we go into, the second phase of the year. And when you think about AI, like AI has a lot of benefits for humanity, but it also, a lot of us are scared of it. Like it's going to, it has capability, people can plagiarize using it. Like, is this written by a human or is it written by, AI machines? But it's also capable of taking video and replicating, like you can, I haven't tried it myself, but I know people who are doing it. You have a video of you and you just type in whatever you want to say. Um, but if you do that for yourself, but imagine if somebody else takes your video and they put, words into your mouth that looks real. So there is this, kind of grappling with, real news versus fake news. And I think that that's also going to be a little bit exacerbated because of all the Neptune, Saturn, and Pisces energy that's really
We,
kind of
yeah.
big for it in
We
the
are
coming months.
recording this with Neptune at 29 degrees Pisces and with Saturn in Pisces. And I think, thank goodness that Saturn is in Pisces. Thank goodness. This at least gives us some structure to the question, what is real? We are dealing with that question right now on the planet in many, many ways and forms. We're dealing with it. What is real with the narrative we're telling ourselves? What is real with the reality that we're perceiving? And is
Yeah.
it a perception? And what is this reality? Is it a video game? Are we in a simulation? Is it really real? Who's the creator? We're dealing with so many deep questions about who we are, even about identity with that North Node in Aries. So it all plays a picture of understanding, or at least investigating, what is real and what is not. And Saturn in Pisces, in my opinion, is the only ability to kind of bring us back to the middle ground and saying, stay focused, limit yourself, because all that possibilities, it means that you're spreading yourself too thin, and then eventually you don't know where to focus. So coming back to discernment and focus is really important at this time.
But I really think that a lot of people are going to take new trajectories because I think there's that, and you and I were speaking a little bit about this before we started recording. Like a lot of people are so tired out there. They're so tired. They're so, a lot of phases are really long-term cycles are really wrapping up. And I think that the tiredness is really coming from we're tired of what we've been doing and we're looking for something new. But we need to learn some new things. We need to like, kind of like I actually encourage people right now to kind of look for some programs to learn, to look for, whatever it is that feeds your soul. Let's go back to Saturn and Pisces. Like, we got to think about what feeds our soul right now. It's worth it to invest a little bit in your learning and your I'm going to Toronto at the end of this month for a special hypnosis course. Like I'm doing it myself, like investing in further learning of something that I love. And I think that all of us should consider that in some kind of way because we're going somewhere new. That just like you said, we're on this pivotal kind of, moment in our collective, but we might need to pick up some new tricks in order to get to where we're going.
I can't agree with you more because comes Uranus into Gemini and we all are flying in light speeds away and we can't stop it. So we better get ready right now. The way I see it, 2024 is kind of a wrap up of many, many cycles that we've been on.
Totally.
And we're learning the art of letting go, the art of forgiving, the art of compassion, the art of integration. And come 2025, we're all stepping into a new platform, but we need to do some baby steps because we can't figure it out yet, but we're learning new skills and new abilities. Come 2026, and we're flying. So we better be prepared for that trajectory.
But it's exciting. I think it's a, there's definitely a major part of it that's very uncomfortable and very like it's hard to pick up and learn new things, especially when we've been doing the same thing and it was going well for us. But that's the whole point of our lives, of our souls, is that journey, that, the continual kind of growth factor that we always are pushed into.
Very true. Let's also bring the faith component that we're
Mm.
all learning, how to have enough faith and hope. And Jupiter is hope, but Neptune is in Pisces is that faith, the belief. And again, there is the question, what is real and what is not? And do we believe in something that is real and will pan out for us to be successful, or are we delusional and deceiving ourselves? And I think that the learning experience of Neptune in Pisces and Saturn in Pisces is that no matter what you believe, if you believe in fears, they will manifest as your path. If you believe in positive thinking and changing your patterns, that will manifest for you. So we are learning the distinction between those two modalities and what are we choosing. It's a really moment of choice on the planet. And the more aware we become of our patterns and the narrative we're telling ourselves on a daily basis, the more choice we have, the more free choice that we have what to choose and what direction to take.
And I see this all the time with like my clients and, people I'm talking to about astrology. Like so many of us are trying to break those old patterns, patterns that came to us from our ancestry, that have been on rinse and repeat all throughout time. We're disrupting the system, and where people are having courage, North Node in Aries are having courage to say like, I don't want this anymore. I want to go after something. And something interesting, I was noticing this on the day that Jupiter transitions into Gemini on the 25th of May, the eclipse point from April 8th, the total solar eclipse in Aries is being triggered, is being activated. And that to me is like, again, I think it leads into something you said earlier. There is a real, because whenever our eclipse points are activated or triggered, it kind of goes back to what was the message of that eclipse. And I know that there was a lot of uncomfortability with April and the eclipse because of Chiron, but the message of that and of the North Node in Aries is like, we're going somewhere new. We're going somewhere new. And like, I feel like that moment of Jupiter going in, like seeing what's happening around you and what new is calling you, is it really could be significant to where the universe is trying to point you, next.
I love this because I think that that eclipse was so important because it had Chiron right there. And the message is probably you've healed enough to take the new road or the new path or to investigate. You've healed enough. We never really heal all the way, right? There's always more layers, deeper layers, but we've healed enough to make the change, to look at something new, to open a new door, to let go of something and move forward. I think that it's a message, it's a very positive message, and I really like it. I know we can talk forever, Crystal,
I
you and
know.
me about so many things. But what I think is important to note, I would like just to note the Saturn Jupiter square that's going to
Yes.
take place on August 17 until August 24, and once more on December 25th. This is like a 1 day square. I looked at it, it doesn't happen again. So kind of a week in August, mid-August, and December.
There's actually going to be a super full moon in Aquarius on the same day of the exact square, which is really interesting. And it brings that Aquarian energy
Energy.
into, because I feel so much about Aquarius is where we're going, that group energy, that, kind of being progressive, thinking outside the box. But in something that you said, um, in thinking about the square and Chiron, because Chiron will station retrograde at the end of July. And I tend to feel these squares as they build, like there's the exact date, but I feel like we're feeling them as we lead up to it. You know what I mean? So, like, I really feel like as we're closing out July and going into that early August, we're sensing that expansion of Jupiter being restricted by Saturn. And then if we think about our healing, it's like another kind of trigger point into how is it going? How are we managing our desire to expand and the parts of us that are being held back?
I actually think it's a checkpoint. Are you
Mm,
are you training good? Okay, you chose this. You're doing something new. How is it going for you? What are the restrictions, the limitations? Let's have a reality check. It's a
that's
square is
reality.
not necessarily a bad thing, even if it's Saturn. Saturn's job is to make sure we create achievement. We reach our goals. This is Saturn. Saturn is not a bad planet. It wants you to reach tangible results in reality. It does not want you to just talk about it. With Jupiter in Gemini can just throw you on a talking spree. Saturn wants you to do and achieve. And so I think it's a checking point saying, are you on the right path? What do you need? Oh, you have those obstacles? That's fine. Let's find a strategy. Let's find solutions. Things from the past are still hunting you. Let's deal with it. Deal with the pain, whatever the pain, the constraint is, deal with it. And then you'll get the results that you need. So I see it as a good moment to check yourself.
Absolutely. And I also, going back to the learning, I think that it's going to also be a point of like using the tools that you've been learning or
True.
potentially taking on new tools, whatever is, whatever you are attracting to. We all are using so many different types of tools, but Saturn, when I think of Saturn, I think of him as like, he's a builder and he's got his toolkit on and he's like, all right, we're going to climb up the mountain. How are we going to fix this? So it's like, what kind of tools are you using to help you through, get to your expansion point?
Very, very true. So let's just tell people, especially those mutable signs, because mutable
Yes.
signs are going to feel this more strongly than other signs. Of course, we're all going to feel the expansion, and the Jupiter and the Gemini house in your chart will be expanded. But mutable signs, you either going to have Jupiter in your sign, Gemini, squaring your sign, or opposing your sign. So if it's an opposition, it's kind of a Saturn feeling of having to do something, but meeting resistance or challenges. So this is, again, it's a character building, it's a strength building, but through a little bit of friction. A Virgo and Pisces would be the square. You guys are going to have some friction. Somebody maybe from the outside having some issues with you, or you're having some issues with them, or you're going to be requested to take action. A square is also about taking active action, doing something about it. You can't just think about it. You have to react and do. So you guys are going to have it a little bit more pronounced in your chart. Anything you want to say about that?
I want to add a little bit to this just because there's so much going on for the mutables right now because of Saturn and because of Neptune. And again, I feel extremely hopeful for Gemini because they need it. They need a boost. They need this Jupiter, this confidence building time. Gemini's opposite Sagittarius, even though there's definitely going to be that oppositional force of Jupiter, I feel really excited for Sag with relationships, because I really feel like Jupiter is going to take their relationships to the next level, help them kind of step outside their comfort zone and make some new connections. So yeah, maybe there's pressure, but I also think it's going to be good pressure to like really kind of expand themselves in this new area. With Pisces and Virgo, Virgo, of course, is our planner. You know, they're always on their game with how with how they're you know, tackling, you know, their goals. Very, it's an earth sign, so very goal oriented, but it has a lot to do with their career, because Jupiter is going to be traveling in that 10th house. So I feel like that push is actually really good if you want to kick up your game career wise, or public, you know, your public portal. And for Pisces, all that energy is going to be in the family home region. And you know, Pisces is an escape artist, just like all the other mutables are. But there's just this continual kind of reminder for Pisces that even if you do feel excited, like you have to make sure that things are good on the home front before you can get out there and fly off to where you need to go. So
I,
I just want to add those things.
I think Pisces and Virgo will have to do something. We'll have to create some sort of action and move from
A
their
goal, a
comfort,
goal.
yeah, comfort zone, and become the doer, which is really an issue for them sometimes, because they like out of space and floating, but they will have to go and do something out of the comfort zone.
Focus,
It's a
focus.
good thing. So I
Yeah.
think it's an expansion for them as well. Anything else that you want to wrap this up with, Crystal?
Yeah, no, I just want to quickly just kind of respect the other signs. If we could just kind of move it over to elements, because I really am excited for the fire signs. Air feeds fire. And, you know, we mentioned Sagittarius, but I feel like Leo and also Aries are going to benefit from the shift of Jupiter going into the air sign. They're going to, they need it too. Like fire, we've kind of been a little bit void of fire. You know, we haven't had a lot of energies to kind of feed the fire. So I'm excited for them. You know, the earth signs and then the water signs, they were being very benefited with Jupiter in Taurus. And now they're kind of passing the torch. It doesn't mean that they're not getting something. It's just that you know, the true benefits are coming to the air signs, Libra, Gemini, and Aquarius, and the fire signs. Like if we just do like textbook astrology.
And I think it really fits the bigger narrative of Pluto in Aquarius and the
Yeah,
new
for sure.
ideas. So air is coming up with helping process new ideas and new expansion. And fire are the initiators, are those that are taking the torch and saying, okay, let's do something about it. Let's create those new inventions. Let's bring it somehow. There are the startup people that are pushing forward for creating those new endeavors. So I think it fits very nicely into the picture of Jupiter in Gemini. This is exciting times we live in, isn't it?
It really is. And I know that there are so many things that aren't right, but we are in our collective, we're on this turning point of such great change. And, you know, like where humans, where we go, where we take things, who are going to be the pioneers to develop new systems, to, you know, kind of invent new products or new, you know, learning or new, whatever it is. I really feel like there's such newness out there that
True.
could be incredibly exciting if we could lean into it. And sometimes it takes a little, we have to kind of work ourselves up to it. But there's so much benefit to what we're going to explore and see and who we're going to meet. Like again, going back to where we started, I feel really strong about the relationship component with with Jupiter going into Gemini. So many people need a new way to meet people. They need a new way to connect, whether it's from a romantic standpoint or a business standpoint or you know, just like needing a friendship. I just feel like it's going to just help you explore and find new people to connect to.
I totally agree. And I'd like to add that we are on new frontiers right now. And the inventions that we're going to see coming out from Jupiter and then Uranus are mind-boggling. I'm talking about transportation, right? The way we
Yeah.
travel. This is Gemini. I'm talking about new social media platforms. I can't even imagine what would they look like. Probably those avatars that you were mentioning, we would
Right.
I don't know. Or we're going to be in the metaverse finally. I'm not sure how that's going to pan out because we do need the human connection. So I'm not sure. I wrote some things. How about jobs? The job market, it's going to change a little bit.
Change.
That's why
Yeah.
learning new skills is a good time right
And
now.
I think really, listen, the reality of Pluto and Aquarius is that, you know, there are going to be jobs that are going to be eliminated, but in that happening, new ones take their place. But it is about, we have to take initiative to learn new skills that may feel a little bit uncomfortable in the initial stages.
For sure. And it's a good thing because that's how we evolve. That's the only thing, the only way we can evolve. But how about art? What's the AI capabilities of art? Where is this going? What is the I wrote social media, and how do we deal with that thing that we're on an edge of something, at the edge of intelligence, the edge of consciousness? What about
Yeah,
longevity? It's going to expand our longevity because
that's right.
science
Gemini is
will
about
come,
youth.
right? It's going to bring some new inventions related to longevity and how we take care of the physical body and how we expand our lifespan, or what it is that we're capable of doing. There's so much to look forward into this new era that
It
it's
really
very
is.
exciting. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is. It's super exciting, and I'm excited about it. I always feel like when Jupiter makes a sign change, it's a hope factor. It's a new terrain, and you know, it's a new exploration for all of us to, you know, kind of go down.
Beautiful. I love our conversation, Crystal. We both love astrology so much
We could
that
talk
we enjoy
forever.
this conversation so much. Thank you for being such a great partner for those
Thank you.
conversations. And who knows
It's
what
so
we
fun.
come up with next month.
There's always plenty of topics.
Always, always. And to everybody that's listening, thank you for listening. And we love
Thank
you.
you.
We love the fact that you're here. And yeah, if you want to get a hold of Krista, I'm going to link all her bio information and links in the description of this video. So please reach out, follow her
Thank
on
you.
Instagram and here. And
And I will do the same for you too. I will do the
yeah,
same on my side.
excellent. And we'll see them next time. We'll see you next time, right?
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for being here.
Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.